The election code has arrived. What can you do? What not to do? This is very important. Now election announced for Telangana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Mizoram. The election code of conduct came into force in the state with the release of the schedule for the elections. This code is applicable to the government parties and candidates. What is the election code? What can be done while it is in operation? What not to do? But however, Article number 324 to 329, Election Commission has some powers. But unfortunately, there was no statutory backing for the Model Code of Conduct. Model Code of Conduct that was first started in 1960 in Kerala. Later, it was implemented from 1962 in India. In 2013, one committee, Standing Committee on Personal Public Grievances, Law and Justice, that was actually appointed for this commission, but unfortunately the regulations is not came into force. In the name of the caste and religion, there should not be rift. The Election Commission will make a certain suggestion as part of the General Code of Conduct to be applicable to all political parties, candidates, party workers and leaders. To incite the existing difference between the caste and religion and between people who speak different languages, do not create new conflicts and antagonisms. This is applicable to all candidates and parties. While criticizing other political parties, they should be confined to their policies, programs and performance in the past. The personal lives of the leaders, candidates and party workers should not get involved in affairs that have nothing to do with the people. Now, false allegations cannot be made against other parties, leaders and activists without asserting. Caste and religious beliefs should not be used for votes. Mosques, churches, temples and other places of worship should not be used for election campaigning under any circumstances. Giving money to voters, threatening voters, casting each other's votes and campaigning within 100 meters of polling stations is prohibited. It is strictly prohibited to hold public meetings within 48 hours before the end of the polling. Moving voters to the polling stations, taking them away and bringing them back is against the rules. It is prohibited for political parties or candidates to use other people's space, walls, houses and other platforms for campaigning without their permission as part of their campaign. It is against the rules to block meetings and campaigning of other parties and candidates. Actions will be taken against political parties and candidates and their supporters if they do such a thing. Posters, flexes and other campaigning material belonging to other parties and candidates cannot be removed. What to do while holding meetings? Political parties and candidates should inform the local police authorities in advance if they want to hold meeting anywhere. When is the meeting being held? The police system will make arrangements if all the details like where it is being conducted are informed in advance. If loudspeakers are to be used in the meeting, prior permission from the authorities will have to be obtained. These are the rules to be followed in the case of rallies. If rallies and demonstrations are held, information about it should also be given to the police in advance. Where will the rally start and which way will go to? How many starts and how many and where it ends up should be clearly stated. Do not change the route during the conduct of the rally. The organization will have to follow any prohibitory orders if there are already any prohibitory orders on the route of the rally. In the same area, if different parties or different candidates want to hold rallies at the same time, care should be taken not to mix the two. The cooperation of the local police should be sought if necessary for an appropriate adjustment. It should be ensured that there is no disruption to traffic due to rallies, meetings, and if necessary, the help of the police should be taken. It is prohibited to carry effigies resembling leaders and candidates of other parties and burn such things also. On the day of polling, and what election code is saying, the election commission has suggested the rules to be followed by all parties and all candidates on the day of polling. Candidates, leaders of parties and activists should fully cooperate with the authorities to ensure smooth conduct of elections. There should be condition for voters to exercise their franchise in a free and open atmosphere without any hindrance or fear. If political parties and candidates give slips to voters, details like voter ID and polling station should be written on white paper only. There should not be any party symbols, colors, name of the candidate or the name of the party on it. Distribution of liquor during the polling or from the previous 48 hours is strictly prohibited. Parties should be careful not to crowd at their camps near polling stations so that fans, activists and sympathizers of party candidates do not risk fighting with each other. At the polling booth, the situation, except for the voters, all those present there should have a pass issued by the Election Commission. The Election Commission appoints observers during the elections. These observers should be told if the candidates or their agents want to make any specific complaints. The ruling party should not think that it is not. Ministers of the ruling party should not use their official programs for election campaigning and election work. Also, neither the machinery nor the staff of the government should be used for the election purpose of campaigning. Government vehicles should not be used for the election campaigning. The facility of air travel at the cost of the government used for official purpose should not be used for the elections. Other parties and candidates should not be deprived of opportunities by allotting the grounds only for their public meetings because they are in power. This rule also applies to helipads and aircrafts. Government money cannot be spent to tell us what they have done in their government. To advertise government schemes in the press and other media, this means that the party should not give advertisement at the expense of the government. After the commission announces the election schedule, ministers and other officials are prohibited from sanctioning funds or making payments with their discretionary powers. Since the announcement of the election schedule, ministers and other officials should not make any assurance on issue of financial benefits. Promises like laying roads, providing drinking water facility, appointments in the government should not be made. Neither ministers at the center nor ministers in the state will allow to enter polling stations and counting centers. You can come to vote as a voter, otherwise as a candidate or as an agent. You can come to the polling station or the counting centers. You cannot come in the rank of the minister. It's okay too. Schemes and programs that were launched before the announcement of the election schedule can be continued. Relief and rehabilitation measures can be carried out in the aircraft areas in the case of floods and drought, pandemic and other natural calamities. For those suffering from the critical lines, medical facility or cash assistance for treatment can be obtained with appropriate permission. Public spaces such as grounds for holding election meetings should be treated fairly so that they are accessible to all parties and other candidates as well. The policies, schemes and programs of other parties cannot make statements about the achievements of its government and the achievement of its party with the government's money. No minister, except as a voter, candidate or agent, can enter the polling booths or the counting centers. Voters can use caste or religion to seek votes, cannot use caste or religion to seek votes. The private life of leaders and candidates of other parties should not be criticized. Protests and demonstrations cannot be held in front of the home of those who do not agree with their views and their policies. A person with official security or private security should not be appointed as an election agent, a polling agent, or a counting agent. These are the election code of conduct, a model code of the conduct. Everyone should follow the candidates, parties, and the agents. They have to follow this. Thank you.